and welcome to episode 24 of Did You Bring the Hummus podcast, and happy World Vegan Day. I'm Kimberly, your host, and I am super excited to be here with you today. Did You Bring the Hummus is a podcast to help you go vegan. Every 2 weeks, I'll share a new episode discussing all things vegan. Most importantly, we'll talk about how to embrace this meaningful decision with fervor and fun. Episodes post every other Monday on your favorite podcast app. Before we get started, I have one very important question for you. Did you bring the hummus? So today, November 1st, is World Vegan Day. Hooray! What an exciting thing. How amazing that we get to celebrate being vegan and this beautiful life that we are living. World Vegan Day was created by the Vegan Society, and the first ever World Vegan Day was celebrated in 1994 to commemorate the Vegan Society's 50th anniversary. The Vegan Society was co-founded by Donald Watson, who is the same person who coined the term vegan. He and his wife were discussing what does it mean to be a non-dairy vegetarian? Because at that point, there was no word for someone who didn't consume any animal products or use animals in any way. So they were having a discussion and they thought, where do we go from here? Calling ourselves non-dairy vegetarians, it's a lot, right? That's a long title. So they came up with the idea to use the first two and the last two letters of vegetarian, the beginning and the end. They put it together and created the word vegan. Symbolically, to me, I think it also kind of represents cutting out all of that extra stuff that you don't need, getting rid of the use of animals like dairy and eggs and honey, things that vegetarians, by definition, continue to consume. So to me, it symbolically takes away all of that extra stuff. So, with this definition, this new word of vegan and the definition of veganism, which, by the way, let me quickly pull that up and read it. You'd think I'd have it memorized by now, and I mostly do, but I don't want to get it wrong. And I've defined this in a few other episodes, especially episode 1. Uh, Veganism is a philosophy and a way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as is possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose, and by extension, promotes the development and use of animal free alternatives for the benefit of animals, humans, and the environment. In dietary terms, it denotes the practice of dispensing with all products derived wholly or partly from animals. In that, Watson always encouraged vegans to take what he called a broad view of what veganism stands for. A good reminder that veganism, while today seems very much about what you eat, people use the phrase vegan diet. And whenever someone hears about someone who's vegan, it immediately just conjures up all the things they're not eating. It doesn't typically consider all of the other parts of veganism. So Watson also was always looking to remind people that it goes beyond a diet. It touches every aspect of our life because it embraces principles of nonviolence. And he actually said he has passed away. He said that veganism is a rejection of moral complacency. So it's not just we don't eat this, we don't use this. Here's why. We have to be active in our engagement with the world, with the environment. And the way to do that is to reject violence and to actively do things that promote peace and love and bringing together. So it also means that this includes other humans and ourselves. It's very easy to villainize people who are not living the way that we live in any aspect. If you think about strongly held beliefs that you may have outside of veganism too, it's very easy, and especially in these last 2 years, or last 6 years, really, we have to remember that it goes beyond people. It goes beyond the animals and the environment, and it includes people, as hard as sometimes that may be. And it includes ourselves. We have to be able to forgive ourselves. The only regret you typically hear from a vegan is that they wish they'd gone vegan sooner. And it's important to remember that when you know better, you do better. And if you didn't know before, and you didn't make a change before, you've made the change now. And it's important to learn from that. And it's important not to beat yourself up about choices that you had made in the past. So, a reminder is that we can be vegan and care about veganism, and we can also be involved in other forms of activism. And make no mistake, being vegan, you are an activist. That doesn't necessarily mean you're out protesting. It doesn't mean, you're constantly telling people about veganism and how they can change their lives and the the choices that they can make that will improve the world as a whole, simply by the way that you purchase food and the way you purchase items. You are using your money to tell companies and to tell the world that this is what is important to you. So you can quietly be an activist, but make no mistake, you are one. With that, though, I've heard so many times, why don't you care about people as much as you care about animals? But I do. And that's exactly why veganism is such a significant part of my life. Because when we're looking at the ways that animals are treated in the industrialized farming, humans are harmed just in this system as well, from being the humans who actually slaughter the animals, the humans who are in there day in and day out in, let's say, the where chickens are housed, and the impact it has on your respiratory system, because the way the chickens are kept, and just the ammonia from the urine, and same thing with where pigs are kept as they're being raised for food. It's grueling, and I think it takes away a lot of humanity when you spend your days just slaughtering animals, and it changes a person, and it's not a good thing. And people who work in tanneries, making leather products, the amount of chemicals that they are surrounded by all day long is so dangerous. And it is a movement to make the world a better place, not just to make life better for animals. Um, so it's important to remember that, veganism, people are involved in the industrialized animal complex, and and they're being harmed as well on a daily basis. Vegans do care about people as much as they care about animals. And even beyond veganism, going back to Watson's comment on rejecting moral complacency. Like, we have to look beyond ourselves and start to explore all forms of oppression, and be open to learning, be open to understanding that maybe the way we had done things before is not okay, and that we continue to make changes. I know for me, I continue to read and to learn and to have conversations, and understand where I can make changes in my own life, how I can continue to show up differently to make this world a more beautiful place. I've learned when to sit back and listen. We don't always need to make our voices heard. There are moments where we simply need to be the support, and that's okay. We've got to learn that we don't always have to be front and center. we have to be willing to make mistakes too, to learn from those mistakes and to continue to grow. I recently heard someone say, and I can't remember if it was like a meme I read or I know my husband and I had a conversation about the quote. I don't remember where we heard it though, and it was and this is like loosely paraphrased because I really don't remember where it came from. But if you look back at your life and you aren't horrified by who you used to be, you haven't grown. And even those of there's always room to grow. So even if you think, well, I'm a good person, I've always been a good person. I don't doubt that. But that doesn't mean that you haven't made mistakes, and that doesn't mean that there aren't changes to be made. I mean, even just look back at, sitcoms from the early 2000s and how the language has changed and things that they used to say on sitcoms. Like you should not be saying those today because they are oppressive and exclusionary and harmful. And back only, 21 years ago, people just thought it was funny, just an observation on life. But now we understand how language impacts and how the way that we show up doesn't just make a difference in our own lives, it makes a difference in the lives of everyone that we come in contact with. So there's always room to grow, to learn, to become better than who we were yesterday. And life is not about competing with those around us. So it's not about being better than those around us. It's not a competition to be better than others. We should always be looking to be better than ourselves. And if we can do this, if we can be better today than we were yesterday, we can and will change the world. It truly is one of the things that makes veganism so powerful to continue to grow and learn and change. And because every time we do better, the world is better. Mr. Rogers, the beloved TV host from my childhood, used to say, look for the helpers. No matter how bad things seem, there are always people doing for others. We are the helpers. For those of you who are already vegan, remember to be the helper. Show the world that vegans aren't all judgmental jerks with a superiority complex. Because, in fact, most of us didn't grow up vegan. We have to remember there was a moment where we were still engaged in all of those practices that we are horrified by today. We have to remember that we had a moment where we went, I can't do this anymore. And we made the change to become vegan. We we want to be the vegans that we needed when we went vegan, the person we wish we had met when we made that choice. Be the helper. For those listeners who are not yet vegan, you can take it step by step. Some people do go vegan overnight, and that is amazing for them. But that's not reality for a lot of people. So make a choice to stopping, every time you choose to not engage in harming animals, you are helping. But don't stop at just one choice. This is aggregate. The more you do, the more you improve your life, the more you improve the world. And when you feel like it's too big, it's so overwhelming. How could you possibly be making a difference as one single person? Remember, you're not the only one making these changes. And remember this Margaret Mead quote that I love so much. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Each time you talk to someone about something you've learned as you explore making vegan choices, when you talk about a new product you've bought, a new vegan product, or a vegan meal that you made, you are giving them new information from even if they've heard it before. They've never heard it from you. And that is what makes a difference. You are giving them something new. And you never know when your interaction with another person will make them think about their actions differently, will make them consider showing up in a different way. In honor of World Vegan Day and November is World Vegan Month, I challenge the vegans who are listening to share your beautiful vegan lives and show the world how amazing this life is. From the people immediately around you to social media, just show how amazing it truly is to be vegan. And my challenge to the non vegans is to make small changes every day. Maybe today you have your coffee black or with plant milk or a plant based creamer. If you run out of shampoo this month, why don't you try a cruelty free and vegan version? There are so many good ones out there. And I'll include some links in the show notes of places where you can easily find different brands that are cruelty free and vegan. If you need help, I have created a Facebook group for fans of the podcast. I'd love for you to join and I'd love to help you there. I also put together a 2-page PDF for dairy substitutes. So if dairy is a hard one for you, send me an email at didyoubringthehummus@gmail.com, or you can DM me your email address on Facebook or Instagram, and you'll be added to my emailing list, and I'll get the PDF out to you. I hope you found this episode helpful and inspiring. Please subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're loving it, please give Did You Bring the Hummus a 5-star rating. It's an easy way to keep supporting the show. As I mentioned, you are invited to join my free private Facebook group for fans of the show. You can find the link in the show notes. Shortly, I'll also be launching some classes around being vegan during the holidays or making vegan choices during the holidays, so stay tuned for that. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Did You Bring the Hummus. Visit my website at didyouBringTheHummus.com for more information about me, updates on what I'm working on, new podcast episodes, and all things vegan. I would love to hear from you. What do you need help with? Is there a topic you want to hear covered on a future episode? DM me on Instagram or send me an email at didyouBringTheHummus@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.